Hey, this is Pastor Steve. This is the day that the Lord has made. I will rejoice and be glad in it. We've been talking about unforgiveness for several weeks now. Last Sunday at Destiny Christian Center, I gave a subtopic, and the subtopic is how to forgive. I gave several keys on how to forgive, and I want to share those keys, some of those keys with you on today. The first thing is you've got to ask God to expose any unforgiveness that's in your heart. You know, this is important because sometimes we need help in order to see ourselves. Sometimes we take for granted that there is no unforgiveness in our hearts. But let me say this to you. Out of sight does not mean out of heart. So we've got to ask God to expose any unforgiveness that's in our hearts so we can get rid of it. The second thing that we dealt with is we've got to meditate on the extent of our forgiveness in Christ. Listen to this. Think about how often we offended God. Think about the sins that we've committed. Think about the things that we've done that God didn't expose, and we're glad about that. And see, when you think about the extent of your forgiveness in Christ, it becomes easier for you to forgive other folk. The third thing that we talked about is you've got to guard your mind and you've got to guard your mouth. Listen, you have to choose to keep no record of evil. You know, on our computers, I use this example. We have a delete button, and we can delete the junk that we don't want. And let me tell you what I found out. When you delete the junk that you don't want, it leaves you room for what you need. And some of us, we have too much junk in our hearts, we have too much junk in our minds, and it's blocking what we need. And then we've got to guard our mouths. You know, Ephesians 4 says that let no corrupt communication come out of your mouth. Listen to me. No slander, no gossip, no negativity. You know, you can't have a positive life with a negative mind and a negative mouth. The last thing that I want to encourage you to do, and I said this to them on last Sunday, is pray for your enemies and pray for your offenders. Jesus told us to do this, and when we're obedient, it is then that God can bless us the way He wants to bless us. So let it drop, leave it, let it go, and forgive. This is Pastor Steve. I love you so much. I'll see you next week. God bless.